Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah amma ba'd. The Prophet ﷺ's ability to build relationships with individuals was so incredible, to the extent that every companion felt that they were the most beloved individual to the Prophet ﷺ. I mean, can you imagine that? You have such an effective ability in making the other person feel important and significant to you that every single person you know feels that they are the most beloved person to you. Amr ibn al-As, radiallahu ta'ala an, and this is a man who accepted Islam, relatively speaking, later. It says after the 6th year of Hijrah. So you're talking about 19 years into the Prophet ﷺ's prophethood. There are many people who passed this individual, came before, yet he felt that he was the most beloved person to the Prophet ﷺ. So much so that he actually went and he asked the Prophet ﷺ. He was so confident in his feelings that he had no problem going and asking the Prophet, thinking that the Prophet is going to say, hey, you're number one to me. So Amr ibn al-As goes to the Prophet and he asks, Ya Rasulullah, ayyun nas ahab ilayk? Which person is the most beloved to you? And the Prophet ﷺ said, Aisha, his wife, radiallahu ta'ala anha. And then Amr ibn al-As says, فَقُلْتُ فَمِنَ الرِّجَالِ. And then he asked, well, I'm talking about men. What about from the men? Who is the most beloved to you? He said, فَأَبُوهَا. He said her father, meaning Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala an. And then Amr asked, and then who? He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Umar ibn Khattab. And then he listed the people, alayhi salatu wasalam. How did the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam build such healthy relationships? Well, one of the ways he did, how he was able to make them feel so good, is by spending one-on-one time with them. See, in our lives today, it's so hard to find time for anyone. It's so hard. But you know what? It is what it is. It's not an excuse. Spending one-on-one time with our family members is critical to building those relationships, especially, underline this, especially with our children. Listen to what studies have found about the importance of one-on-one time with your children. I'm talking about one parent with one of their children. Father with their son, father with their daughter, mother with their son, mother with their daughter, one-on-one time. They found that one-on-one time plays a foundational role in building the personality of the child. Why? Because when it's one-on-one time, the child looks at their parent and is able to start absorbing the characteristics of their parents, of that parent. They're able to see how the father, how the mother interacts with the environment around them. And when they see the father or the mother who, in their experience, they know how to engage situations, that builds a self of peace in the child's heart. They see the world is not a scary place. People aren't scary. Why? Because they see their parents engaging this realm. Oh, my mom is doing it, my father is doing it. That means it's okay. That means it's safe. They're also able to see how the father exerts patience, the mother exerts patience. It's not that everything they want, they get right away. Rather, they see, the father sees, okay, they have to wait in order to get what they want. So it builds that resilience in the child's mind. It's so integral. Our children are suffering with so many things for many reasons. But one of the primary challenges of our time is anxiety. Anxiety. You know what anxiety is? It's this feeling of constant fear. Our children are afraid of everything. They're afraid of the environment around them. There's a lot of phobias that are just becoming endemics in our times. Germophobia, obsessive compulsion disorder. They're afraid of the future. They're afraid of commitment. They're afraid of challenges. And where's all that coming from? The weak relationships between them and their parents. A child without a parent or without an adult role model is a child that's going to be wandering earth on their own. That can create problems. It can create major challenges for them. We need one-on-one time. And the studies have further shown that it's not necessarily the number of time that you spend. It's not how many hours you spend with them, but the quality of time that you spend with them. You know, researchers brought a group of children to try and look into parent-children relationships. And it's natural that researchers, before going into their research and getting formal statistics and formal surveys, they try and predict what's going to happen. They create a hypothesis. I think this is going to be the result. And so researchers thought that when they asked children the following question, what is your biggest complaint about your parents? They thought that their answer is going to be, they don't spend enough time with us. That's not what the answer they got. You know what the answer they got was? It's when our parents spend time with us, they're always not focused. They're not paying attention. They're stressed out. They're worried about commitments. They're worried about tomorrow. They're worried about work. They're worried about bills. So even when they're present, it's as though they're not present. It's not about how much time you spend. It's about the quality of time that you spend. Also, research finds that, you don't have to be a perfect parent. You're never going to be a perfect parent. In the end, you're a human being. Eventually, sooner or later, your children are going to do things to really get your temper going. And you're going to shout, and you're going to behave in a way that probably isn't the best way of behaving. Don't worry about that too much. Children aren't going to remember every single minute and every single memory. But what they will remember is the bonding that happened. They will remember that my parents were there for me. And this isn't just parents and children. It's husband and wife. It's with your parents as adults, with your siblings, spending one-on-one time with them. So we need to ask the question, what can we do to spend quality time with our children when we are with them one-on-one? Well, here's a few tips. One thing that we can do is create a list of things to do. I'm sure we all struggle with this. It's family day. It's time to go out. All right, family, where do you want to go? I don't know. What do you want to eat? I don't know. Anything. It's one of the most frustrating things about having time with your family. We always seem indifferent about where we want to go and what we want to eat, even though there are so many options, subhanAllah. So try and mitigate that frustration, because when that happens, it really takes away from the joy of the day and the time together. But you can prepare by creating a list. Have your child, have your spouse put a list of places they want to go, restaurants they want to eat at. And then when it's time to do one-on-one time with that individual, you already have a list where, hey, let's try this and let's try that. Let's go ahead and do that. So when you go out, you're just focusing on the fun part. You're not stressed out about choosing where you want to go and what you want to do. A second thing that you can do is you, as the one trying to spend one-on-one time with this fellow person, is try and create a list of things you want to get to know about the person. Our children don't always tell us what's going on in their minds. Our spouses don't always talk about what's going on in their hearts. This happens. Wallahi, I know stories, real life stories, about a spouse, a wife, who had no idea their husband was going through severe depression. No idea. Because the husband played a certain role, and that role caused him to hide his feelings. But if they spent one-on-one time, maybe she could have gotten that information from him. So when you go out with your children, with your spouses one-on-one, do it with the intention of getting to know them a little bit more and asking the right questions, not to interrogate them. No one wants to be interrogated. A husband doesn't want to be interrogated by his wife. A wife doesn't want to be interrogated by her husband. Same thing with the children. But through conversation, direct the conversation to questions, to thoughts that will really bring out what's going on in the other person's mind so that you build that quality time, you have that quality time. Finally, talk about the future. It's said that healthy relationships, people who have a healthy relationship with each other, they talk about the future. Why is that a sign of a healthy relationship? Because when you like the person, you want to stay with them. And so when you're talking about the future, essentially you're communicating to this person that I see you with me in the future, till the end. But I've come across, married couples who, they don't talk about the future. Why? Because they speculate whether they're going to be with each other. So when you're spending one-on-one time, part of making it quality time, focusing on the future. Where do you think you're going to see yourself? How can I help you get there? The future is so important. The Prophet ﷺ would do this with his companions. One time a young man came and said, Ya Rasulullah, I just want to serve you today. I just want to provide you with my assistance today. What can I do? And then, the Prophet ﷺ, they spend some time together, they do some things together. And at the end, the Prophet ﷺ asked the young man, what do you want, O young man? What do you want me to ask Allah for you? And this man said, to be with you in paradise. Look, future. The Prophet said, what do you want for your future? Tell me and I can make dua for you. And this man said, my future, I want my future to be with you. What can we say about this man's love for the Prophet? Oh man, that's a love that, man, may Allah give us that love for the Prophet ﷺ. Okay? Think about the future, talk about the future. It's part of building that healthy relationship. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to spend one-on-one time with our families. And you advise one another. Talk about it in the comments. What is some good practices, some good quality time that you can recommend for families to spend, or for parents to spend with their kids, husband and wife? We'd love to hear from you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum everybody. Thank you for watching. If you're finding benefit in these videos, remember that every day throughout the month of Ramadan, we'll be releasing a new video. Our goal is to build a stronger family, especially in our times today when the family unit is really dissolving. It's so important for us as Muslims and to serve as a role model for all of humanity. Share these videos, like, drop a comment, and we'll see you at the next video. Bismillah.